Lloyd is a hopeless and talentless sorcerer who managed to get reincarnated as a 10-year-old prince. Now he gets to spend the rest of his days with beautiful maidens at his beck and call, especially the one that's his tutor. Lloyd now spends his new life trying to balance out being a prince and trying to perfect his magic. With his newfound abilities, will he be the perfect prince or become a big threat to the kingdom? Before he started living the good life, Lloyd was a commoner who could barely muster up enough magic to defeat an insect. As he bled before the royalty that was about to execute him, one of them reminded him of the words of the great father of sorcery, William Bordeaux. The man tells Lloyd that magic will never smile upon someone as useless as him before engulfing him in flames. While he burns up like fresh barbecue, Lloyd marvels at the kind of magic a gifted noble can use. He wished he had enough time to master magic and not be so insignificant in his life. He awakens to the sight of beautiful maids surrounding him and sees that his hands are very tiny. He thinks the maids are giants and tries to use a fireball to defend himself, but ends up blasting a hole through the castle with his newfound crazy abilities. Meanwhile, the rest of the kingdom is celebrating his birth as the 7th prince of the Saloum Kingdom. After some years, it looks like the town is bubbling with activity. Meanwhile, the maids are looking for Lloyd, who's hiding from them. The maids leave the hallway and he shows up from behind one of the statues. It seems in his reincarnation process, God was confused between bringing back a boy or girl because those are definitely not the thighs of a 10-year-old boy.
Damn!
He bumps into some nobles and tells them not to inform the maids of his whereabouts. One of them asks him to join them for a hunt, but Lloyd continues his escape from the maids. It looks like the noble was trying to garner Lloyd's favor in case of the day he became king, but with the way that boy is turning out, I doubt he'd be able to rule anything in his life. The nobleman mentions how Lloyd started speaking from a young age and even refused breast milk from his mother. That might be the reason for Lloyd's weird body structure. He also thinks that Lloyd is the reincarnation of William Bordeaux. Lloyd continues his escape to the library as he recalls how he was a normal citizen before being reincarnated as royalty. Not only was he not killed by Truck-kun, but he somehow got reincarnated into the same world. I guess breaking the rules we all know is just the way he rolls. He finally managed to escape the maids and entered the library. His luck runs out when one of the maids, Silpha, catches him in the library. They head to do some sword practice, but Lloyd feels it's all unnecessary considering how far in line he is to the throne. Silpha was assigned as his tutor and she has taken it as her life's purpose. While she holds back, Lloyd uses control-type magic to trace all of her moves. Basically, he's cheating just because he wants to go back and read. I've never seen a young kid so obsessed with studying. It's like his brain got burnt in his previous life and it carried over to the new one. He uses more magic to grow his sword, enhance his strength, and levitate himself to fully match her. The fact he has to do all this shows how inferior he is. The fight continues and he's really pulling out fast moves on her. As he tries to land the finishing blow, Silpha blocks it and lets him know that she is aware of his cheating. Lloyd gets disarmed and flipped in the air like some pancakes. For some reason, Silpha fell in love with him even more for being able to use 2 spells at once. She didn't even notice the physical enhancement and control magic that he was using. Maybe he's not all that inferior after all. She ends up taking him to the bathhouse where the rest of the maids are bathing as well. The dream of every man, and this little kid is out here complaining about it.
Nice.
Well, he's pretty much clueless and stupid for his age. Some of the maids then come to tell him about a forbidden library demon. A long time ago, Saloum was nearly destroyed by a demon named Grimoire, but some mages sacrificed themselves to seal it away in a book. Definitely not the kind of grimoire we all know, but I see what they did there. Silpha then mentions that the book is supposed to be sealed in the castle's forbidden underground library. She feels it's just a fairy tale, and if it was true, what could a demon that's been sealed away really do? She says that Lloyd couldn't possibly be afraid of such a childish story, but he remains there trembling while being comforted by her chest.
Yeah, boy.
One of them suggests that he should come to sleep in her bed for the night. Silpha retaliates by saying it's her duty as his instructor, and before you know it, all the maids are arguing to sleep with a 10-year-old kid. Meanwhile, Lloyd slowly swims away from the ruckus as his eyes light up at the thought of a forbidden library. This kid has a serious reading problem, and despite reading so many books, he's still an oblivious little runt. That night, Lloyd uses a concealment spell to hide his presence as he passes the guards who are meant to stop anyone approaching the library. The The guards talk about how no one could get past their security, but a kid just waltzes right past them. Like being disgraceful wasn't enough. They say that even if someone did get by, there was an unbreakable barrier that was cast by 10 mages to block the entrance. As soon as they say that, Lloyd makes light work out of the barrier and dismantles it. For him, this was just another Tuesday at his job. He enters the library and immediately goes bonkers at the sight of the books there. Well, a library is supposed to have books. That's the whole point. While he checks out some of the books, a particular one starts floating around and laughing like a deranged creature. The demon in the book reveals itself to be Grimoire and asks Lloyd to unseal him. Grimoire says that he would eventually become free since the seal has degraded over the years. Then why is he asking a little kid for help if he's so confident? The demon tries to bribe Lloyd with gold, but the little boy just insults Grimoire's magic. He calls the magic very low quality and not thorough. You just know Grimoire's pride as an ancient demon was on the line. Grimoire tries to persuade him by saying he'll teach Lloyd some ancient magic. At the sound of ancient magic, Lloyd turns into a little infant who was offered some candy. He remembers the words of the nobleman who killed him in his previous life and is happy that he has a more privileged body than that of a commoner. 10 years into being royalty, and he's already so proud about it. This silly Lloyd breaks the seal on the demon and it immediately attacks him with some dark magic called Arctis Obscura. Lloyd blocks it off with a barrier while praising how unique the demon's spell is. He asks the demon to show him some more, and at this point I was confused as to who the real demon in this show is. Grimoire continues to bombard him with the spell, but it barely puts a scratch on Lloyd's barrier. The little kid even starts analyzing the magic and starts drooling at the thought of it touching him. He uses his finger to touch the spell just to get a feel of it. The spell shreds up his finger and he licks the injury while asking for more from Grimoire. Yeah, Lloyd was definitely dropped as a baby or has a generational curse following him around. This definitely isn't normal for a kid. Grimoire feels so insulted by this insolent child and starts chanting a spell as he creates a second head. He fires a stronger spell at the kid, but Lloyd just stays inside the barrier and analyzes the spell. He remained unharmed while Grimoire said that was his strongest magic. Damn, that's gotta be tough. A demon that's been sealed for years ends up being light work for a 10-year-old kid. Lloyd commends him on how strong his magic was, but Grimoire just tries to escape after seeing there's something wrong with this kid. Unfortunately for him, Lloyd set up a barrier to prevent him from leaving. He actually set up multiple barriers to prevent himself from destroying the castle. And here I was, thinking that Grimoire was the main threat to the kingdom. Now it's time for Grimoire to defend as Lloyd throws a huge fire spell at him. Grimoire gets fried while Lloyd asks why he didn't try to defend. This kid really must not know his own strength. Lloyd ends up restoring the entire library back to the way it was. Grimoire didn't even know when he started referring to Lloyd as master after the fear of the gods had been instilled in him. Grimoire offers to serve him as his familiar and Lloyd agrees. The demon transforms into a smaller form and hopes to pull a fast one on Lloyd. Grimoire goes to hide in his pocket and hopes to take over the boy's mind and body, but as soon as he touches him, he feels a monstrous mana that's too dense. The demon realizes he's at the bottom of the food chain in this situation and tells Lloyd to just call him Grim. Lloyd then heads back to continue his reading alongside his new prisoner. My Riz demons, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and check out one of these 2 other videos. Also, if you want to get that shredded anime physique, click the link in the description below.